So today I have with me the co-founders of Aligned, an amazing technology that I came across recently. So after spending some time earlier with Gal and Gal, the CEO and COO of Aligned, I decided to hold a panel discussion with the two of them so everyone else in the sales enablement space and beyond would get a chance to know them as well. And trust me, you need to. So Gal and Gal, could you share like a little bit about, Aligned? What is Aligned?
Yeah, thank you so much, Avner. Really excited to be here. Yeah, so really in a nutshell, Aligned is a shared virtual workspace where buyers and sellers work together on their deals throughout the entire customer journey. And what that means is that we streamline the entire collaboration. Okay, that's the content that you share with the prospect. That's the discussions, all of the conversations that occur during the sales process, the processes, right? Creating next steps, mutually agreed plans, timelines, and even parts of the sales stack, electronic signature and things like that. So everything is really streamlined in a nice, beautiful space that you personalize within minutes to each of your customers, which helps essentially simplify, okay, the process for both the buyer and the seller, enhance the experience. So the experience that is more focused really on the buyer versus the seller chasing and running after the deal. And at the same time, because everything happens digitally, it creates a big opportunity to analyze all of the gaps that occur, all of the blind spots of what's happening between their conversations. Mm-hmm. So it's both kind of helping to improve the process and provide visibility to ultimately gain more control over the deals.
I've been in that situation so many times, so I really feel the pain and the need for such a technology. And that got me very curious to learn more about your solution. And I'm so happy that today we spend some time together and share that with everyone, because I'm sure that more people in my space, in my shoes, actually feel the same pain, and I'm sure that would benefit from every piece of advice that you might be able to share with everyone today. We know each other for quite some time, and you both gained quite a lot of experience in various industries and categories such as BI and retail. Could you share a few important milestones across your journey that triggered you to embark on this journey, putting together this amazing platform?
Yeah, 100%. So in my previous position, I managed the sales team. And I really got the chance to see what happened across COVID and how it really disrupted the game. So pre-COVID, I used to fly with my team and close deals on a monthly basis. So we used to do enterprise complex deals, fly on a monthly basis, meet with the teams, sit for a day, 2 days, and kind of align on all the loose ends and everything that was missing. And then COVID hit, and then everything kind of changed. And I had AEs coming to me and saying, Gal, I think I'm going to lose the deal. We have a few other vendors that are competing with us, and there's almost 15 stakeholders. I remember one specific deal with a very large retailer in the States, and one of the AEs came to me. She said, Gal, I'm going to lose the deal. So for me, something that was super intuitive, which is really aligning, keeping everyone under the same goal. I'm very operational, kind of what we did, where we are, what's left. I found out that it wasn't so intuitive for my teams and other AEs. So I decided to quit and research. So I did consulting for VP sales, CEO, CRO at small seed till 8 startups that are building their revenue teams for scale. And I've witnessed that they're all encountering in the same issues. They all have the same issues, super hard for them to align with the buyer side, especially when they don't spend as much time with the seller these days. Now, Gal and I worked together at site at a previous company. Gal was from day one in the advisory board at Aligned. He was our first customers, the CRO of Anagog. He saw the enthusiasm in his team, and I literally chased him throughout the whole year to come and work with us more closely. Gal and I did magic together in a previous company, so it was just natural for him to come and be with us. And I think once we really launched and he saw the traction and he saw how, well, we let him tell the story, but he saw how addicted his team is, really spiked him to come and join Aligned.
I think that one of the most common challenges for a salesperson, even for a customer success manager, is the friction with technology and even with content. And if that challenge is reflected across the journey to the buyer side, it creates a negative impression or negative impact on the buying decision. And that, I think that everyone would agree on that. And the problem is, we've got sometimes too many technologies, too many platforms to use. The common number stands on 15 to 20 different applications that we salespeople need to use. And that makes our life very, very, difficult. We tend to just send whatever we can in order to tick off the box and move on to deal with the other deal or the other account or whatever it is. And that's a big risk for the business. What we need to strive for is to send the right content to the right prospect at the right time. And when we do that, then we have better chances of gaining the buyer's trust or the customer trust. It depends whether you're acting as a CSM or as a salesperson. But either way, you really need to have a surgical approach. You need to apply a surgical approach, and you need to avoid as much friction as possible with content, infrastructure, whatever it is. And that's why I really fell in love with your solution. I think it combines all these approaches together, and it provides a smoother journey, both for the buyer and the seller. And that's a great segue to talk about the next question. I think that many businesses and many entrepreneurs have realized that they agree on the pain. So, I see an increasing demand for efficient sales engagement tools, and I see an increasing number of options available, technologies, platforms, and tools. New players are joining the game every day. And it's becoming extremely hard for buyers to tell the difference between one solution and another. And my question is, what category does your solution fall under?
Yeah, so I'll take that. To be honest, to start with the end, I think that a new category will be created because I'll explain why. I think it sits and it touches a few of them. In the few things that you just said, you mentioned a lot content, right? Simplifying friction around sharing content. So that puts, solving that challenge puts a line basically in the sales enablement. But that's just one challenge. Exactly. What about communication? So many people in my team, in our teams back at site and before, it was challenging for AEs even to get to the point where, for everyone, right? You don't get to the point very quickly when you even open a Slack channel. There's friction there. You need to ask, you need to get to a certain level in the relationship. So even that basic capability of having chat already built into this shared workspace that you open immediately after the demo, and we have even customers using it for SDR after a qualification call. Already you open a room and it helped them bring kind of the more strategic demos. So, even that basic aspect of having already chat built in, smoother collaboration, smoother process, you can start building relationship more quickly. And let's take even another thing. What about process management? Exactly. Right? So process management, how do you do mutually agreed plans today? How do you align the next steps and keep both sides accountable? What everyone do? They send an email, they summarize the next steps, or they have a slide, or maybe if they're really rock stars, they go and they create a spreadsheet and get to that level of working on that spreadsheet with the customer, right?
But if you don't share that spreadsheet, it's a wasted effort.
Yeah, but and even that spreadsheet, it's a lot of friction. They need to go and open the spreadsheet, and it's not linked to email. It's just a spreadsheet. So here, this is another area, right, around process management, right? We were turning really the account executive or the CSM, right, into a partner that versus a seller that chases and tries to follow up on that next step by building all of these next steps and alignment on the mutually agreed plan within the platform. So this is not sales enablement, right? It falls under a different category. So I think that it touches sales enablement, it touches sales engagement, and really what we call here internally the 10x is really everything because everything is happening in that digital environment is a huge opportunity for revenue intelligence. Revenue intelligence, not on conversations, rather on the blind spot between these conversations. What happens when now a C-level is about to sign an important deal and you're blind, he doesn't sign that deal, never happened, right? That C-level doesn't sign the deal, goes and continues to negotiate. Think about that C-level entering the room, looking at competitive comparison, looking at pricing negotiation transcripts, and okay, we light up that blind spot. So really a lot of categories converging into that digital sales or whatever the category will be named.
So having said that, what do you see as your ideal buyer? Is it like sales or sales ops or rev ops? Where exactly are you targeting from a budget point of view?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think in terms of the ideal buyer, first of all, we're targeting SMB to mid-market companies who have complex solutions that require a lot of education and are selling to mid-market to enterprise companies. So as opposed to other companies, I think where we target is first and foremost, we have a bottom-up approach. So we actually build the product towards the account executive, towards the customer success manager, the BDR, the onboarding manager. So they're the end user, and the entire business case internally within our buyers is built bottom-up. So we actually let them use it for free. They get hooked, they go up to management and they ask for a license fee. So they are really our target. That's who we target, yeah.
And once they develop an appetite, then you grow the business. Exactly.
Yeah, so actually we've seen a lot of organic growth. We've started with one user and then we kind of just let them play with it. And then, the second user in the team, they see the first user in a Gong call or a Zoom call and it's like, hey, what are you using? What is this tool? Looks super cool. And then it kind of spreads like fire inside the organization. So that was great to see. We have clients that started with one user and after 3 months ended with 80 and 100 seats. And it was all organic growth. So it's a lot of fun to see it internally within our companies.
That's amazing. I'm just curious to learn, how exactly you drink your own champagne. So from a buying experience, what exactly can you share about, the buying journey? How you leverage your own solution when you communicate with potential buyers?
Yeah, so in terms of the use cases, Align is built towards the entire revenue team. So actually account executives use it to close deals, and I'll touch base upon that in a second. BDRs are using it to schedule demos and kind of better identify and understand when the prospect is hot. Customer success is using it to do onboarding and actually manage complex kind of EBRs, QBRs, and etc. And even management of the revenue team, they use it to kind of oversee and manage everything and get better understanding of the deals and relationships themselves. So for us, the way we use it, we actually use Aligned to close deals with Aligned. The entire platform is completely self-serve. With that said, in some cases and with mid-market, we actually do more of like assisted sale and we do intervene. So we use Aligned as account executive. We share all of the Aligned process and offering inside Aligned and use that to communicate with our prospects. And we actually use Aligned to do the onboarding as well and kind of manage the relationships.
That's a great answer. By the way, you mentioned customer success managers, CSMs, and it's been the topic of or the focus of my recent conversations with other CSMs leaders. Personally, I see some changes in the role and contribution of customer success managers and account managers from a sales perspective. I see, they're gaining more. I don't want to say power, but their contribution to the entire revenue generation process is increasing. Their role is gaining more popularity, of course, and they, especially in the self-service space, they do gain more power. And I'm curious, to know what is your take on these changes or trends, given the increasing popularity of customer success and account managers. Do you target those teams as part of Align's, go-to-market?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely customer success and account executives. And so you mentioned really the change that's happening in the industry with self-service. So, we're both really executing on this as well as a company, right? As a PLG product-led growth company, we really believe in this go-to-market motion. But so both, it's something that we're aligning with when we're going to execute and grow our business. But it's also a really big change that we're seeing that's really aligning very well with the offering. So I think really what's going on is, Gartner talks a lot about, there's recent study, COVID accelerated field to remote. I think the numbers are 90% of companies right now, something like that, are fully doing remote sales, even the large enterprise deals. So that happened. But another thing that happened is that buyers, okay, they got used to the Slacks and the Notions of the world and the Zooms, right? Opening and buying things so easily that they're 43%, that's a number, 43% of buyers actually prefer to self-serve and not speak with a salesperson based on Gartner. So there's a shift in behavior, and I think that buyers are a little bit shifting away, okay, from the seller as being the main channel. That's the person in the middle, or the customer success. That's your person, and then that person helps you orchestrate a buying journey. To that person being another channel, that person being an enabler, okay, of that buying journey. And I love, we're researching so much about the PLG, reading about it all the time. There's so many things that are going on, and I love reading about this all the time, about how these teams are really enabling the journey. And it's probably going to be the next question, but that's really pretty much aligns with aligns.
I totally agree, by the way. I think that, today, by the way, I read those articles and researches, and I totally agree with the numbers. I think that buyers today want to feel that they are in control. They're looking for ways of gaining control over the buying experience. And what I liked about your solution is that you provide some means of, control in terms of visibility. And that's like, goal number one. Or key, one of the key milestones in the journey of gaining trust, visibility, transparency, allowing the other side to see whatever goes on your end. And when you do share, information, and you do actually, you're able to track, whether the customer or the prospect, how they engage with the shared information, and you can proactively understand, if there are any hiccups or gaps that can actually improve your chances of gaining their trust. And I think that's an important part that is missing in the traditional selling experience. We force the buyer to spend time with the seller, even though they all they need is just an advice. They need someone to tell them something that they don't know, something about the organization, something about the process on your side. And if you can share that as early as possible, both sides actually win. And that actually takes me to the next question. One of the biggest challenges of a growing business is to make sure that they accomplish an effective adoption and engagement of their entire tech stack. And I was wondering, if you could share a little bit about your approach or plans. How do you ensure adoption and engagement with your platform?
Yeah, 100%. So on the product level, the way we approach things, you'll see a lot of companies that are actually building solutions for the person who's writing the check, the person who's making the decision, but not the person who's actually using the product on the day-to-day. And at Align, we build it from salespeople for revenue teams, for salespeople, and we build it based on our own pains, based on challenges that we had. Like, we build actually in a selfish way a tool for ourselves to sell better, to align with our prospect, and just close deals faster, get more visibility, and take care of buyers' delight. So for us, the way we build the product is for the actual end user. We build it super, super easy and precise for the user to just come in, onboard himself, and the time to value is a few minutes. So we actually have users that come in and within a few minutes, they share that they build their own room based on our onboarding tour. They share it with the first prospect. They see that they went into the room, collaboration starts and they get hooked. So we did a lot of iterations of that, a lot of consulting, a lot of testing, a lot of A/B testing, and we got to this result of self-serve onboarding. And I think we have a living proof here. And Gal was one of our first clients. Maybe you want to share what you saw as a buyer, as a client of Align before you joined as our CEO.
Now you got me curious.
Yeah, actually, I felt a little bit like if these things gets ripped out, I'm gonna get a coup right over there in the sales org, in the revenue organization. And I think it's good for us, right? It creates adoption and and of course it will increase the lifetime value and all of that. But I think it showed. It got me convinced really that there's something here, that the AEs, the CSMs, everyone, they have all of their deals there. They feel like a pro. I think that we have a lot of kind of the companies, the AEs and the customer success reps all the time send us feedback, and it's amazing to see that they get so excited. They get feedback from their buyer. Like I even remember these quotes. I have a buyer in the room that's raving about how good it is, and someone else they're like obsessed. Like someone else said, my buyer is obsessed, like really obsessed. This is the quote. My buyer is like really obsessed with Align. Okay, one of the AEs sent us, and I think when that happens, that puts the seller as a pro. Okay, I'm not that person that chases, not that person that tries to get into that mutual level, like that same eye level.
Mm-hmm.
They immediately get positioned as a pro. They get hooked to that experience of working in the system. So that's really what I experienced before I joined.
It puts you in the advisor's seat, actually.
Exactly.
Enabler, as you said before.
Yeah, even before using it, it sends a message. It's not a follow-up email that I'm doing and following up and next steps and content. I have this space, virtual workspace. It looks good. It's tailored to you. It has the next step. Wow, they get like the initial wow experience, and that feeling as a seller to get to feel that from your buyer is spot on. It's where you want to be positioned.
I couldn't agree more, and I've been in that space, for so long, and I've seen so many other applications and technologies attempt to create a microsite or a shared folder, but it doesn't get near to your solution. And when you provide some level of visibility to someone else, you basically turn that person, that prospect or customer, you're turning him into a partner, not just a buyer, but she become a partner, part of the process, because they see exactly what happens on your side. They proactively can reach out to the seller and ask for specific items that maybe they didn't think of in the first place. Now that they have some level of visibility, they proactively can sense what the journey, where the journey is going, what direction the whole experience is going to. So again, it speeds up the entire process. And visibility, as I said before, so many times, visibility leads to trust, leads to a faster sales cycle. I can't emphasize enough the importance of such a tool or technology or visibility. And I just want to add one last comment. I think it's important to mention that so many businesses and technologies, promise so many functionalities and features, and the bottom line is they all promise a self-service product. But when you can't deliver that, that's reason number one for not making it to renewal. The buying process is done through different people than those that actually use the product. And when the buying process is completed, and then those that actually need to use the product meet your technology for the first time, that's where the biggest challenge starts, because they were not part of the buying process. They see the product for the first time. And if you don't spend enough time, onboarding these users and making sure that the onboarding is smooth and they have all the resources they need in order to use effectively your product. And time to value is, as you said, very, very fast. You're not going to make it to renewal. There's no chance. And so many other businesses have failed, because of that, because it's not really self-service. There's so much friction going on between the platform and the end user.
Absolutely.
So I really connect with everything that you have mentioned so far. We have reached our, I just asked every question I had on my list. But maybe before actually we wrap it up, any final words of wisdom, as I tend to ask? Anything else you wish to share with everyone today?
I think I just wanted to kind of more illustrate and mention that, based on the experience, and you asked a bit about it before. So, in e-commerce, I spent the last 5 or 6 years in sales teams, in partnerships teams, in e-commerce from leading startups. And in e-commerce, you learn that the buying experience, the buying journey becomes part of the product. And this is a shift that we're actually seeing in B2B as well, not just in B2C. So actually what Align does, part of the things that Align does is it helps make a journey that was very challenging and very kind of disoriented and dislocated in many communication channels in one place, and create a very, very smooth, almost self-serve onboarding process for its prospects, for the buyers, our clients, so to speak. And it was important for me to kind of share a bit about that.
Well said. Gal A, any final words?
No, I leave it with that. Well said. That's great.
Gentlemen, I really appreciate the time.
Likewise.
I look forward to hearing more news, exciting news about Align. I'm sure that you're going to make it, big time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Avner.
Thank you.